Hi guys, this is Ranjit and this is going to be a different kind of video. As you can see, I'm in my house and this is my car charger for my Nexon EV. Here is the Nexon EV and I wanted to talk about a very important, let me just lock the car, talk about a very important point that most people are not talking or thinking about before purchasing an EV, and I think so most don't know about it. But now I have owned this Nexon EV for the past 2 years, so let me talk about it, and this is very very important. So let me talk about it, and first thing, let's talk about the type of batteries that you get on EVs, and specifically I'm talking about EV cars. Earlier we used to get NMC batteries. Actually, NMC batteries are not that good for the Indian environment, but luckily now most manufacturers are switching to LFP batteries. These are ideal for our Indian conditions. In summers it can get very very hot, so LFPs are actually way better. And also another thing that people don't know about LFP batteries is that with NMC batteries, the charge cycles are just around about 700 to 750 charge cycles, whereas on LFP it is anywhere from 1500 to the reputable manufacturers that can go up to even 3000 charge cycles, so it's magnitude better. So definitely if you're buying a new EV car, make sure it is having a LFP battery. But luckily, as I've told you, most manufacturers in India have moved to the LFP batteries, more reliable and everything. Okay, that's not the big point. The big point is, if you're buying an EV, people don't give a lot of thought about this one. How are you going to charge it? And many people think that, okay, if I get an EV, I don't have a charging, place or whatever, I will just use the public charger. The public chargers that you use are actually known as DC fast chargers, and ideally EV, you're not supposed to charge it every time with the DC fast charger. What charging we do in the house, for example, you saw that my charger, that's a 7.2 kilowatt charger, but that's an AC charger. So AC charging that you do is known as regular charging. And for EVs, no matter what these manufacturers say, continuous DC charging is bad for the batteries. In fact, I saw Tata saying that if you use DC charging also, if you use it 4 times, you have to use once AC charging. So if you want the best life on your EV in the long term, I'm not talking if you're just selling it for a year or two, but long term, then AC charging is very important. And let me talk the problems that people face with this one. Of course, first let me talk about the default charger that you get in the box. That's a small 3.3 kilowatt charger, and again, it's okay, I would say, if your battery capacity is not that big. For example, if your EV is having just 25 kilowatt of battery or less, or even 30 kilowatt, then that 3.3 kilowatt charger is okay. But these days many of the EVs are having way bigger battery packs, 45 kilowatt, 15 kilowatt, 60 kilowatt. The new Mahindras are having 59 and 79 kilowatt, and these require bigger AC charger, because let's say that's if you have that 79 kilowatt battery and you use that 3.3 kilowatt charger, it'll take you more than 28 to 29 hours to charge it, which is impractical. So you need the faster AC charging. And the problem with the faster AC charging is that, again, you need space to install it. So if you're living in a flat, just check with your society or anything if they allow that. That is very important. Second thing is, again, if you have an independent house also, this is one thing that I noticed. Generally, if you have a normal size house, generally the electricity limit that you have is 5 kilowatt. And as this AC charger is 7.2 kilowatt, you are exceeding the load. So to install this 7.2 kilowatt charger, you might have to increase your electricity load. It's not a problem if you have a big house, you'll be having 3-phase or whatever. But if it's a slightly smaller houses, most are capped to 5 kilowatt load. So that is also something you need to check. And also if you're going with very these bigger batteries that almost 75 kilowatt, 80 kilowatt, these also have an option of 11 kilowatt of chargers, AC chargers. So if you're opting for that 11 kilowatt, make sure your load capacity is at least 15 kilowatt. This is something that people don't realize you might have to do, because even if you buy a car with that 7.2 kilowatt charger, the charging people might come and check your meter, and say if the load is less than 5 kilowatt, they will derate that charger to charge only at 3.3 kilowatts. I've seen that happening. So beware of that. And now let's talk about the elephant in the room, this problem I faced initially about 6-7 months also when I bought my Nexon EV Max. This has a 40 kilowatt battery. And at that time I was living in a flat, and that is a huge complex, and there I had to actually use shade charging, and there we were allowed only, they gave us a 16 amp switch, so of course we couldn't install those bigger chargers or whatever, so we had to use that 3.3 kilowatt charger. And for, if I recall, that society had 1100 flats, and they just gave 2 points of that 16 amp points in a common area to charge the car. So always with the EVs, we were having issues. We had to make WhatsApp group by texting, okay, I'm charging at this time, I'm charging at that time. And the one thing people don't understand with LFP batteries, this is very, very important. Nobody will tell you guys. LFP batteries, if you are having, you need to charge them 100%, not 80%, or you should not actually charge them, let's say 50-60% and leave it. You have to charge it to 100% to get the best efficiency. Otherwise, it will not show you the correct percentage, and you might get very reduced range. So that's very, very important. So again, if you are living in a flat or something, make sure you have adequate charging points. Again, I noticed that with the newer built flats, it's not a problem, because I recently was visiting one of my friends' place. There they had a charging place in a common area for 5 cars, 5 points. So if you have something like that, it's okay. But if you don't have that, then it can be a real problem. Let me just sit and then I'll talk. If you're living in a flat or something in a shade location, make sure you have the charging point and it's adequate, because let's say if they are like 50 EVs in your complex, and yes, it's increasing day by day. When I was there, in those flats, we just had about 6 EVs. Now in that area, it's 1.5 years, it's more than 50 EVs. So that can be a real problem. Also, some flats are allowing to have your own charger in your designated charging location. That's actually good. But one thing people forget to understand is that the expenses of installing that can be very, very high. For example, one guy in our old society got that done, but he had to spend almost 75,000 for installing a new meter and the wire towards the parking, because it was far away. Apart from the fast chargers cost, which is generally that 7.2 kilowatt is about 50,000. So it can get expensive. This is something that people do not take into account. So be aware of that. Luckily, as I've told you, in the newer flats, I think so it's a government mandate now. That's why many of the builders are giving some dedicated spaces for EV charging. If you have that, no problem. But if it's a very, very old flat or something like that, beware of that. First, make sure you have a place to charge and it's not always overcrowded or something like that, because I know in our old location 2 people sold their EV after 8 months because of the charging issues. And as I've told you, every time you cannot do the DC charging, it will have a big negative impact on your battery in the long term. But again, guys, this is a small video that I wanted to make before, if you're planning to buy EVs, because you're going to get a lot of EVs in 2025. But I would say majority of the users do not think about this charging situation, what they have. This is a big reality, guys. Figure this out first, then get an EV. That way it'll be a pure hassle-free and a very good experience. I hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care, guys.